We will call the July 20th, 2026 Seward County Board of Commissioners regular meeting to order. Please stand for pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Reverend Jason Toombs with the Liberal Ministerial Alliance.
Reverend Jason Toombs, representing the Liberal Ministerial Alliance, let us pray. Heavenly Father, God of all concord, it is your gracious will that your children on earth live together in harmony and in peace, defeat the plans of those who would stir up violence and strife, destroy the weapons of those who delight in war and bloodshed, and according to your holy will, end all conflicts in this world. Lord Jesus Christ, as you once shared in our human toil and thus hallowed the work of all hands, bless and prosper those who maintain the industries and service sectors of our land. Give them a right regard for their labors, and grant them the just reward for their work, that they may find joy in serving you and in supplying the needs of our bodies. Almighty God, be a strength of source and hope for the children in our families and in our community, especially with school enrollment this week. Guide them by your word into paths of wisdom and righteousness, and send forth your holy angels to watch over them. Almighty God, you have promised to hear the prayers of those who ask in your beloved Son's name. Mercifully incline your ears to us, that we have now made our prayers and supplications known to you, and grant that these things that we have faithfully asked according to your will, we may receive to meet our need and bring glory to your holy word. Through Jesus Christ, your Son, our Lord, who lives and reigns with you in the Holy Spirit, one God, now and forever. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you. Citizens' comments. Do we have any citizens that want to address the commission? Okay, please approach, and you have 5 minutes unless voted on by a majority to go past that, and your name and address, please.
My name's Rick Madden, address 1509 Fairview. I have a couple of questions, basically issues with the commission that I'd like the commission to respond by either in the commissioner comments or any of the easier way that you could find. First is why it was brought to your attention about the assistant county administrator salary being paid out of a restricted fund might be illegal, that you've turned a blind eye to, instead of trying to find a workable issue. A simple question to the county council of forest roads might have resolved the issue, or as Commissioner Stanton requested, that the county attorney Russell Hassan back his opinion. But we still have no answer on the legality of the issue. The commission's inability to act on this, and if a fine is incurred, the citizens of Seward County will be held responsible, not the commission. Second is why Thresher Wind Farm's attorney and the commission go to an executive session when it seems you're doing business behind closed doors and not letting the public actually hear what's going on. I don't recall you going into an executive session when Mr. Caffey or Mr. Martin wanted to address these issues. In fact, they had to do it in a public comments. As with any public comment on issues regarding the commissions, I really don't expect a response. I feel this commission is truly not working for the people of Seward County. The citizens of Seward County deserve better than this. Thank you.
Do we have anyone else? Same rules apply. State your name, address in 5 minutes unless extended by a vote of the commission.
Commissioners, I'm Jim Rice. I reside at 2111 Violet Lane in Liberal. I want to address this commission as to my concerns of using landfill funds for the salary of an assistant county administrator. According to my limited research, there are numerous state laws and opinions concerning the use of landfill funds for purposes other than landfill. KSA 653410, restricted use of funds. Monies collected from solid waste fees must be placed in a special trust fund. By law, these funds cannot be diverted to other municipal purposes and must be used exclusively for costs connected to waste disposal facility or program. Further research speaks to the authorized use of landfill funds, where I found several Attorney General opinions. Opinion number 1997-055, the Kansas Attorney General addressed a question from Reno County regarding the use of solid waste landfill fees to fund a joint building for the road and bridge and the Department of the county landfill. The Attorney General concluded that restricted funds, the county is prohibited from using restricted solid waste fees collected under KSA 653410 to build a facility used for both landfill and road and bridge equipment, repair, and maintenance. Another opinion, 2007-18, is a formal legal guidance issued by the Kansas Attorney General on July the 16th of 2007, addressing the expenditure of fees collected under KSA 653410. The opinion clarifies that local authorities must strictly limit the use of these collected fees, specifically revenues collected for waste disposal and solid waste purposes may only be expended for purposes that directly relate to the statutory purposes specified in KSA 653410, and not for purposes that are merely incidental. Using restricted landfill funds to cover salaries or operating expenses of unrelated departments, such as general county administration or maintenance, conflicts with state budget authority. Indirect services are restricted. State presidents, such as AG Opinion 2007-18, clarify that even seemingly related infrastructure, like maintaining a county road leading to the landfill, cannot be legally funded by landfill fees. Fees collected must directly relate to specific purposes outlined in the solid waste statutes. 79-29-34, funds appropriated by the budget, balances, duties of the clerk and officers, distribution of tax proceeds. The budget, as approved and filed with the county clerk for each year, shall constitute and shall hereafter be declared to be an appropriation for each fund, and the appropriation thus made shall not be used for any other purpose. In other words, once a local government's budget is officially approved and filed, it serves as a strict legal appropriation for each fund. Money allocated to one specific fund cannot be diverted to or used for any other purpose. Transfers of funds under KSA 79-29-34 further states, the general rule within the budget law is that there shall be no transfer between funds in the absence of lawful authority. These are only a few of the reasons and concerns about the current expenditures of the Seward County landfill funds. I would ask each of you to immediately consider looking into the above AG opinions, state laws, and perhaps even more important, to immediately seek legal advice. I appreciate your attention to these matters, and thank you very much.
Do we have anyone else? Okay. Same rules. Please state your name and address in 5 minutes unless
Yes, sir.
we extend it.
My name is Greg Greason. I live in Sublette, Kansas. I farm in Haskell County and Seward County, Kansas. I own land in both counties. I'd like to present y'all some pictures, if I could.
Sure.
So, guys, what we've got going on is between 83 and 160 junction. It's a little different country than down here in rural Seward County, down here where y'all have got a lot of grassland, that kind of thing. We've got croplands up there, and there's no ditches involved. We've got ditches where the power line poles are at, and we have no ditches where the crops basically are of the ditch. Up there in those kind of conditions, the fields are higher than the ditches are. Really, ditches really don't do any good in that part of the country. That's the reason they would never cut there, however long they was cut, go like 65, 70 years ago. A guy came along and tried to cut down the corn crop there. That's not much corn, but that's $450 that this county will never get part of. It's 100 bushel corn and a half mile. So we're paying property tax on things, and I think we're creating a lot of trouble trying to create another ditch when we can't maintain the ditch that we have. We've got culverts on this other side that need to be fixed. The whole grass needs to be maintained. This side of the ditch has been maintained by farmers I'm 55, and it's been like that for a long time. I think the farmers as a whole are doing a pretty good job with the right-of-ways. As far as your blind intersections, yeah, let's go get them cleaned up. I totally agree with you. The other day, I met with this gentleman the other day. He knows my concerns. We got right-of-way trouble. It's stop signs. Let's get those cleaned up. But this is up middle of the center sections and this is different ground than what y'all have got down here. And I think the shoe don't fit on all the same foot. Because if there's not a ditch there, I don't think that we really should have right-of-way. I think the farmers are doing a pretty good job at maintaining that right-of-way and doing a better job than what the county can come by once a year when there's not a ditch there to maintain. That's kind of all I want to say. Y'all have any questions?
Greg, I live up this direction. Where is this actually? So it's Road M? Okay, thanks.
All these west roads have got ditches on both sides. And I know guys are farming right there in the ditches. I understand that. But get the right of ways cleaned up. So let's keep our tax money there, and let's not create more trouble on more than we don't have. We've never done it. They've never been to maintain in 50, 60 years that I've been up there. I don't know why we're going to start now. It doesn't just, I think we better spend our money doing something else. That's my main concern. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else? Same rules.
My name is Carolyn Huddleston, and I live at 316 West 7th Street in Liberal. I have some data for you today, which I'm hoping will be helpful as you consider budget issues. I took the original 2026 budget figures and the amended budget figures so people could see them side by side. And last week, April gave me the CIC budget pages, which have year-to-date expenditure amounts on them. I think those were up to date through at least July 15, maybe July 16th, the day that she gave them to me. Anyway, I used July 15th, which is the 196th day of the year. At that point, 53.7% of the year is gone, so I looked at the money budgeted for each department or fund and calculated 53.7% of that. That's the amount we would expect to have been spent by July 15th, assuming expenses were coming in equally throughout the year and assuming they are going to blow all the money they had budgeted. I inserted that expected expenditures column in front of the actual year-to-date expenditures. Then I found whether each department had spent more money or less than the amount I calculated as expected. The last column shows you that data. One item I want to point out, which I think is very good news, is employee benefits. The $4.8 million budgeted is actually about $200,000 less than the actual expenditures for 2025. That was slightly over $5 million. So we're starting with a very low budget amount when we consider the history. And of this 6.5 months, about half the time we had the old policy in effect. I think the new one started May the 1st. So just 2.5 months with a new policy, and we're $400,000 below expected expenditures. Like I said, I think that's good news. I did pull 3 funds I've been tracking out of the main list because of special circumstances. Election expenses will mainly come in at the time of the primary and then November elections, so them having most of their money left doesn't mean anything about how it's going to end up. As for reserve for claims, we shouldn't be spending that money. My question about that fund is why we have spent $12,465. Was this really for some claim? Anyway, this money will hopefully be transferred over to add to the Conestoga money at the end of the year. And then there is economic development. I don't know if the $203,336 they've already paid will be the county's entire contribution for the year. If not, why would the total amount budgeted have been $200,000? Since the staff were transferred to the city payroll, I'm not sure what's going on with those staff. So I took this department out of the main list. So when I summed everything, I found that we would have expected this set of departments and funds that remained in the main list. I would have expected them to have spent $10.9 million by this time, and they'd only spent $9.9 million, so about $1 million less. So they seem to be able to manage on what has been R&R for the last 3 years in a row. As I understand it, the commissioners didn't put the county reserves in the pot, only their income. So they aren't drawing on reserves. Thank you, commissioners, for that. Last, I separated out the landfill since the county doesn't pay their bills, and they seem to be doing well. They have a lot of money left over compared to what we might expect it to be at this point in the year. Solid waste has $1.2 million left over, and hauling $750,000. And again, that's in comparison to the point we would expect them to be in the year, not their funds for the entire year. But that's how much they're ahead at this point by my calculation. Anyway, that's a report on actual expenditures with the year a little half gone. Any questions or comments or anything?
Seems like we're doing good. Thank you.
I kind of thought we looked better than I expected. Anyway, thank you for your attention.
Hi, my name is Jason Vaughn. I'm a resident of Sublette, and like Greg before me, I farm in the north central part of Seward County. I too share a lot of his concerns with the right-of-way situation there. I would like to just, I guess what I'd really like to say is that if the county is going to make the commitment to reclaim that right-of-way, I would hope that there be an equal commitment to further maintain that right away, not just a one-time trip through there. Furthermore, I think that it's not fair to anybody involved, whether it's the guys on the mowers, the maintainers, or the farmers and landowners along those right-of-ways, to expect that we just guess where that right-of-way is at. I think that that needs to be clearly delineated where that right-of-way begins and where it ends if we're going to do that. So, again, thank you for allowing us to speak to this issue, and I think you guys are doing a great job, and you'll make the right decisions. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. We'll go on to item. I didn't think I missed anything. We'll go to item 1 to approve the agenda. I have asked, there are multiple additions, so I just have asked April to recap all those for us.
Good evening, Commissioners. We do have one item that we need to add to the agenda, which is the Masoni Bridge Replacement Form 1302 Request for Project. I have supplied each of the Commissioners with that information. We also need to pull payroll from the consent agenda and add it to the regular agenda. And then also your June 10th meeting minutes were mistakenly the same minutes as May 28th, and so we have provided you with the correct June 10th meeting minutes, and I have also supplied you a copy of the corrected minutes for approval.
And the
treasurer's we also need to pull the treasurer's register from the agenda, or I'm sorry, from the consent agenda, and add it to the regular agenda as well.
Okay. Is everyone good with making that first one 3A, the second one 3B, the third one 3C, and the fourth one 3D? Okay, so can I have a motion to approve the additions to the agenda?
Yes, I move we add them as 3A, B, C, and D in the order recited by the administrator.
Okay, do we have a second?
I will.
I have a motion by Commissioner Stanton, a second by Commissioner Louderback to approve the additions to the agenda. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes 4-0. Now can I get a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Stanton, is that correct? Okay. And a second by Commissioner Vasquez to approve the amended agenda. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes 4-0. Okay, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended?
I will.
Okay, do I have a second?
I second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Louderback, a second by Commissioner Stanton to approve the amended consent agenda. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes 4 with 1 absent. I failed to mention that Commissioner Metlin is out of town and unable to call in. So there will only be 4 votes tonight. 3 new employees. Okay. Okay. 3A is the project programming request for the Mosoni Bridge. And April, you may have to explain that a little bit since this was just new.
Good evening, Commissioners. We just received this completed form today, so I wanted to get it on the agenda, if at all possible, to start moving things forward on the Mosoni Bridge. I've been in contact with Dawn, and I apologize. I probably will pronounce her name wrong. I believe it's Huska. She is the bureau chief with KDOT. She has forwarded this form to Seward County to complete. It's Form 1302, which is the form for project programming request. We had to complete this form so that they're able to move this project over and we can receive the funds for the bridge. The reason for this is you have to have a status of the project. Their records, KDOT records, also showed that the bridge was privately owned by the railroad. If that was accurate information still, then we are not eligible for the use of federal funds on the replacement. And so we turned in the form to let them know we would be building a complete new bridge. And we notified them of the location that will happen. They asked us to fill out this form, which we have done with the help of Kirk and Michael, who is our engineer on the project. You will see that it's completed. You will see that the project totals have changed a little bit over the 2-year period of when we originally requested this project. It originally was requested for 2.9. The project totals now look like they're coming in at $3,030,000. So we've had a little bit of increase in that 2-year period. So I'm just asking the commissioners this evening to consider passing the project programming request to the Kansas Department of Transportation, and that will be one step forward in getting to work on the Mosoni Bridge project. Then, as I have told the media outlets, I will certainly get information to them and to the public
as we have updates on this project. Any questions from the commission?
Okay. Thank you. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we sign the Kansas Department of Transportation project programming request as presented to us this evening.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I will.
Okay. Again, I want to thank April and Scott Carr for their dogged determination to get this done. Some commissioners worked on it for 20 or 30 years and could not get it done. But those two were like rabid dogs. I don't know. They got it done. So, thank you. So all in favor? Well, we have a motion by Commissioner Stanton, a second by Commissioner Louderback. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes 4-0 with one absent.
Does the clerk have an original to be signed? Sorry? Do you have an original to be signed? Okay.
Okay, item 3B is payroll. So we pulled it off the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the payroll as presented?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I will.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Motion by Commissioner Vasquez, a second by Commissioner Louderback to approve the payroll as presented in the consent agenda, but removed. Any discussion?
I will just note the same objection that I've had the last two meetings, as the issue remains unresolved.
Okay. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? Motion passes 3 in favor, 1 against, and 1 absent. Okay, item 3C is the correction of the June 10th Seward County Board of Commissioners Fire Chief interviews. Do I have a motion to approve the amended, changed minutes?
I will.
Have a second?
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Louderback, a second by Commissioner Vasquez to approve the date change on the minutes of the June 10th Seward County Board of Commission Fire Board Fire Chief interviews. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes 4-0. Okay, item 3D is the treasurer register. It's 2 registers, June 8th through June 21st in the amount of $36,161.06, and June 1st to July 5th in the amount of $79,720.99. Do we have a motion? I requested that these items be pulled off because we had not received a detailed check register. I asked for that Friday. I've asked for that before, and we still not received it.
Can you point it out just so we can?
It's a detailed listing of the checks. Okay. Okay. Very good. So we have not received a detailed check register. So we're approving $100 and some $1,000 checks. Over 100,000, no knowledge of what the checks are for. So do we have a motion? Anybody want to make a motion to approve that?
Can we ask Mary to explain what we're getting and what we're not getting, just so I
She explained
understand?
to me one time that they are confidential checks. I'm here to say that there's no check Seward County writes that is a confidential check.
So I would suggest that we take that up with the Kansas Department of Revenue, since you're in question of that. But that check register is a statutory obligation that I have to do And I sent that to you guys in an email explaining why you would not be getting a detailed because of the confidentiality of that. All of those checks that are run through the office for the treasurer's register is for taxes, refunds on motor vehicle, and refunds for property taxes. Any questions about that?
So you're merely following statute as you understand it. Is that correct?
Correct. That is not information that can be given out when it's motor vehicle. And that's why that 90% of those checks are motor vehicle. It is not information that can be given out. So a total has been given to you every single time in the book.
And is this the first time there's been an issue with, I mean, how often do we see this particular register? Is it monthly?
So ever since
Or
you guys
quarterly?
have seen it, no, it's been in there ever since it was requested, I believe, since May, end of May, we started putting that in there. And then also sent out emails letting them know that the total amounts of there. When we did the R&R, that check register was in there, detailed because those were taxes. That was done on the revenue neutral rate. So that entire check register was in there because it was taxes. But it also had the total for the motor vehicle for the register that was done through the treasurer's checking. So this is the first time in historically that we've had any issues with it. We have tried to abide by the rules that you have asked for. The problem that we have is the confidentiality of the motor vehicle part.
But what's the rest of it? You said mostly was that.
So the rest of it is considered tax refunds. So if somebody comes in and does a abate or escape, the treasurer issues tax checks for that, and then also for distribution. So those are both. All of that is for statutory. That's what I'm supposed to do by statutory. So none of this is to withhold or say that I'm doing something illegal. This is, taxes pays for taxes. So if they're coming in with a motor vehicle, that stuff is confidential. If it was for taxes, that is not confidential. But because it's coming from the same check register, I cannot decipher between those two.
But it's always been that way. Like you can't separate them, so we could see the stuff that isn't confidential.
That's correct. And it is a statutory duty by the county treasurer that I don't have to have your approval to refund to the taxes to the taxpayer, because that's what I'm here to do.
Steve, is there a way to resolve this for your satisfaction?
What I requested. I've been requesting this since May. That's when it started showing up on the agenda. So,
Forrest, do you have an opinion?
Without looking, I don't have an opinion on the what's being represented as what can and cannot be shared. We could find that out. My understanding is you're being asked to essentially accept what's already occurred. You're not approving something prospectively. So I don't know that there's any. I don't think if you want to table it until next month, you could table it until next month. I don't know that there's any harm unless the treasurer thinks there is and not doing something.
No, this is done daily. This isn't something that needs commission approval to do on a daily basis. This is what's supposed to happen in my office. This is what I was elected to do. I am elected to handle the taxes to the taxpayers and to issue those refunds to them as well, also as distribution. So all of this is done out of my office per statutory obligation. And so like Forrest said, it's already done. It doesn't need your approval. It is being transparent, showing you what has been done.
I think the sense I get, if I'm understanding your question correctly, Commissioner Helm, is are you getting as much information about this as you should be getting, or is it being kept more confidential than it should be? And we can figure that out. I don't know the answer to that question off the top of my head. If that's your question, we can figure it out before before the next meeting. But again, I don't want to speak for you if that's not the question.
And I think one of the main reasons this was even brought up is, Mary, you were paying purchase orders out of that account, which you are no longer doing.
Correct.
So they were not seeing your purchase orders, and now they are, because they're all coming through payables.
That is true.
They're not paid for out of that checking.
Well, and I think maybe you guys are confused as treasurer's fund to treasurer's check. The treasurer's fund is what we call in the office is a 510 account that the treasurer has statutory obligation and has 100% control over. That is where we're now sending that through the payables through the clerk's office to pay through. That you guys are seeing, that's being transparent. The treasurer's check is coming through my office for the statutory obligation that I have for taxes to the citizens of Seward County.
You want to table till next time for us to give us a legal opinion?
I think my question has already been done. I mean, we can't go back on it. This is stuff that has to be done by date every day. Now, if you're asking about the treasurer's fund, that's something completely different. But you're coming into a fine line between statutory duties and what you want to approve to come through the treasurer's office. You can't do that.
Okay, well, that's something for Forrest to research and give an opinion on.
Well, yeah, and let me just, I guess maybe I'm not understanding. Mary's comment suggests that you're seeking to approve the expenditures rather than just seeking to understand what was already made. So what is it? Are you asking for me to simply look into the volume of information that you're getting about those expenditures and whether you're getting the right amount of information, or am I misunderstanding? Again, I just want to make sure I understand the question.
Well, they're on our agenda, so under the consent agenda, so we are effectively approving those checks.
I don't know that you're approving it or just accepting that you're accepting into the record the report from the treasurer's office of what happened. Having not seen that report or looked into what can and cannot be kept confidential, I'm not in a position to tell you tonight whether that report is as complete as it could be for what information you're seeking. But I would agree with what Mary said. This isn't you're not being asked to approve the expenditures. You're simply being made aware of what has occurred. But I don't know whether the amount of information you're getting is as much as you're entitled to or as you might want.
Okay, April.
If I may, when you get your general ledger report each month for the 510 account, that the 510 fund that Mary was referring to, you can look at the expenditures on the general ledger report that show you what is being spent out of there. As Mary explained and Stacia explained, since it was brought to her attention and she's trying to be more transparent, she is now sending purchase orders through for office supplies, meals, travel expense, reimbursements that were originally being paid out of the 510 account. She is now putting those through payables so that they are hitting the check register so that you guys are seeing them on the check register that you are approving. I'm not sure when that change took place, but recently, I think.
I think it was all in May. We did all of that.
Okay. So anybody want to make a motion to approve the treasurer's register?
Well, I'd like to I'll make the motion, but at the same time, I think just to ease your mind, ask for us to just ascertain. It sounds like some of this stuff is confidential. Other of it, you don't have a way to separate it.
That is correct.
And if there's a concern about it, what you could do, Commissioner Helm, is simply rephrase the motion to you're voting to accept what's been presented rather than approving.
Okay. So do we have a motion to accept what was presented in the treasurer's register but not approved?
I'll make a motion to accept what was presented in the treasurer's register. Two different tranches, June 8th through June 21st, in the amount of $36,161.06, June 1st through July 5, in the amount of $79,720.99.
Do I have a second?
I kind of agree with Todd on this. I think it's fine to. I mean, it's already happened. We can pass it and then make sure that Forrest checks and everything like that. So I'm going to second that.
Okay, so we have a motion by Commissioner Stanton, a second by Commissioner Vasquez to approve to accept the treasurer register for June 8th to June 21st and June 1st to July 5th. All in favor? Motion passes 4-0. Item 5 is the beer garden barrier request. We tabled this from last meeting.
Did we miss
4?
4? I saw a tie
Too many,
somewhere.
too many threes. 4, Stepping Stone Shelter. Sarah Foreman Sarah's not here. Ty is here. They have reviewed the Municipals Fight Addiction Funding, which is a resource to help subdivisions in Kansas identify opportunities to effectively and strategically allocate opioid settlement funds and develop a localized plan of action to combat substance use disorders within the community. In September 15th, 2025, we agreed for the commission voted for a one-time option grant of $15,068.27 to come from the quarterly opioid settlement fund and to look at it on a quarterly basis. So you're here tonight requesting another $22,691.31.
Correct. From our first set of opioid funds that you granted us, so far, we held on to those funds initially because we were going through our remodel and we're not providing the services. So since we have reopened, we have spent $3,768.63 of those initial funds. They help fund our main caseworker. She's our full-time caseworker that does intake and helps with getting the clients the wraparound services that they need, whether it's helping them get to Southwest Guidance, that type of thing to help them with any addiction issues that they may have. This second request that we have would fund a couple of other spots. Currently, Erin Burton, this is supposed to also be her job, but she is currently having to cover other areas of the shelter. This would allow us to free her up to continue those wraparound services with the rest of our clients, finding them gainful employment, substance abuse assistance, and the like. This would allow us to bring someone else in. We currently we've got a grant and we have everything we need to provide a telehealth room for people experiencing a drug addiction. In addition to this would help alleviate some of the pressure on Southwest Guidance. This would allow us to get a lot of our people we send there, and they're overwhelmed. They have a lot to do. And so this would allow some of our clients to utilize the telehealth. The person would be responsible for coordinating that. This would also help with bus passes to ensure that all of our clients are able to get where they need to in town to get the help they need. So that is kind of where this is angled at. We currently partner up with the Liberal Area Coalition of Families. Now it's Community Action Coalition. We have worked with them. All of our employees and 3 of our board members have been trained by DACA at the state level for the administration of Narcan. So we are a resource there to the community should someone need assistance or should we have someone come in that is going into overdose.
So, any questions?
Is there anyone else seeking the same funds? I don't know.
Well, Community Corrections and JCAPS?
Yes, they did a joint grant that they're using the funds for. They have not requested additional funds. They do give you a quarterly update, and they have not requested any
And they
additional
are aware
funds.
of this distribution.
Probably not aware of this.
Other than it being publicized in the agenda and stuff, they have not reached out to me about it, no.
If Ty's going to use them, I see no reason not to.
I mean, that was it was a prior commission, but I guess you were here in 15 when we made it specific. It was a one time. So it's not something to come back over and over and over and over again.
Well, our understanding, it was one time, but that was left open that we would be allowed to request and compete for those funds. Not that it would be a guaranteed every quarter we would get the funds.
We also didn't know how long they would continue or in what amount. Is that correct?
The amount is correct, yes.
Yeah, because the opioid funds is going to be a declining amount every quarter.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes. And they started in 2023. We've collected $154,241.09 since 2023. You only have had 2 people that have come forward with a request for proposal for those funds, your Cimarron Basin Community Corrections Agency, as well as your Juvenile Corrections and Prevention Services, in which you gave $116,481.51 to in 2025. You awarded the Stepping Stones Shelter also in 2025, $15,068.27. They are now asking for the remaining balance that we currently have in there of $22,691.31.
When will the next quarterly payment be?
We just received this quarterly payment. I know Annabelle put the receipt in our box, I want to say maybe 2 weeks ago. Don't hold me to that, but it's been in July.
This would zero out the fund, effectively zero it out.
For now, yes.
Until 3 months from now when we get another.
Which they want us to use the funds. That's what it's for, municipalities fighting addiction. And then we are required to do annual reports to the state each year, which we did in 2025. And they were happy with what the programs that the money was being used for, and our reports. We got approval back from them on that, and then we'll do that again at the end of this year as well.
Have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we distribute the currently available funds, $22,691.31 funds available as of July 15th to the Stepping Stone Shelter, Municipalities Fight Addiction, as proposed by Sarah Foreman, who assures us that all the guidelines are met for allowable expense.
And at any time, if you'd like to stop by, I can provide any documentation you would need.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
So we have a motion by Commissioner Stanton, a second by Commissioner Vasquez to approve the payment to Stepping Stone Shelter from the opioid settlement, the municipalities fight addiction funds, in the amount of $22,691.31. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes 4-0 with one absent.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Item 5 is the beer garden barrier request. We discussed this at the last meeting, but decided we had to have a whole new resolution, correct?
So we utilized the resolution that you had. but we did add language in that said, you'll see in number 1 of the resolution, sorry. So it still covers the activity center, the Seward County Agriculture Building, and inside the Seward County Fairgrounds rock wall. I'm looking for the wrong resolution is attached in your file. Stacia, do you have a copy of the resolution they're going to sign tonight?
I do not have any resolution.
Okay. Commissioners, I need to go pull the correct one off of the computer. I don't know if you want to move on to the next item and come back to this one. I can have it quickly.
We can move on and come back.
Okay. Hopefully I'm not up for it.
Item 7 is acceptance of the KDHE grant funds. This is to request commission approval to accept funds and authorize expenditures for KDHE guidelines and for Health Department Director to sign KDHE aid, the local program, universal contract, and contract attachments. All grant awards and amendments will be placed on file in the county clerk's office. This is just a housekeeping that you received the grant, correct?
Yes, I also got word today that I don't have the documents in front of me yet. I can bring them back if you want me to. But you guys previously approved all of the grants for me to submit. There's no changes to it, but Universal Home Visiting did get approved for $57,000. When I get the NOFO award, or the NGA, sorry, Notice of Grant Award, I can bring it back. Or if you want to approve that as well tonight, it'd be just another housekeeping item and another thing that's not on your agenda for another meeting.
So, do you have a motion to accept the KDHE grant funds?
I will.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Louderback and a second by Commissioner Vasquez to accept the KDHE funds. And I forgot, if you guys are good with that, to allow the Health
Universal
Department
Home
Director to
Visiting.
sign said document.
Do you want me to add the Universal to it or bring it back? Sorry, I forgot to ask before you motioned.
Okay.
That's fine with me.
We're good? All in favor? Raise your right hand. Motion.
Do we need to bring it back?
Yeah.
Motion passes 4-0.
So what did Stacia say?
Stacia said I got to bring it back because the motion didn't include it. That's fine.
Okay.
What's the name of the one that didn't get included?
Universal Home Visiting for $57,000.
I move that we accept and allow the Health Department Director to sign the KDHE grants for universal
Home visiting.
In the amount of $57,000.
We have a second to that.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Stanton, a second by Commissioner Vasquez to allow the Health Department Director to sign the KDHE document. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes 4-0.
Thanks.
Okay. Item 8, we'll just keep going until April shows back up.
Sounds good.
Item 8 is the solid waste
Seven.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at the tab 8. Item 7 is KDHE Solid Waste Management Committee meeting. And it's to allow the commission to approve the minutes of the July 10th, 2026 Seward County's Waste Management Committee, and for the landfill director Tyler Antrim to submit them to KDHE. And those minutes were attached.
So moved.
Do you have a second?
I will.
I have a motion by Commissioner Stanton, a second by Commissioner Vasquez to the county commission to approve the minutes dated 7/10/2026 of the Seward County Waste Management Committee, and to allow the landfill director, Tyler Antrim, to submit them to KDHE. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes 4-0 with one absent. Item 8 is the tax sale update. Mary Rose.
All right, commissioners, our tax sale is scheduled for July 31st at 11 a.m. in the courtroom C. It will be where the last one was in December. I do want to go over a few things for you guys and for the public to know. So far, we did have 28 parcels on that tax sale, but we are having to remove 2 of those to date. Any questions or concerns that you guys might have, I have been directed by Clendall Astrom for you guys to make that contact to them moving forward if you have any, like I said, questions or concerns. I did talk to Sheriff Ward about he is attending the tax sale. He will be there to make sure we have order in there. And Clendall Astrom is the law firm that we have hired, as has they're quite the law firm that has handled quite a few in Southwest Kansas. So our last tax sale, we've kind of mirrored it so that way we are consistent with it, and so the public knows. In order to be a bidder, you have to come into the Seward County Treasurer's Office. You have to fill out a form called the Bidder Information Form. And then we have to make sure that that person is legit to buy in Seward County, meaning you cannot owe any property taxes or personal property taxes in Seward County. And if you do not, then you become a legit buyer. There is also, as a buyer, you can also receive the tax foreclosure announcements. That's kind of what they look like. And it is a 2-page front and back letting you know the rules and regulations. But I do want to point something out. We have several houses in this tax sale, and I just would like to read this so the public and for those people that are living in those houses are aware of some rules and regulations that they have. So until the tax sale is confirmed, you, the buyer, do not have the right to collect, rent, or require the owner to leave the premises. You do not have the right to start removing, demolishing, cleaning up, or otherwise altering the property. You do not have the right to change the locks on the property once the sale is confirmed. Then you have an interest in the property subject to the receipt of your sheriff's deed. The best course of action is to wait until you have the deed in hand before attempting to alter or enter the property. So I do ask, and this all will be disclosed at the tax sale, that if there is a person that lives in that house, you must follow the rules and regulations. And so we have had some instances, not in our county, where somebody has purchased property and went to the door and told them, you need to get out, I own that house. So there are some rules that do apply. And since there is many houses that are in this cell, I just thought that was important. Do you guys have any questions? Okay. So we are hoping to see everybody. We so far have 4 bidders at the tax sale that is scheduled for the 31st. I do ask that everybody try to be there at least 10 to 15 minutes early before that. All right. We want to move on to the next one? Or do you?
Item 9 is the operational justification for treasurer staff pay, scale realignment, and performance metrics.
I did send this out earlier to you guys prior to it being on the agenda to make sure you guys were able to have any concerns or questions about that. I did reach out to each and every one of you. Jairo, I did not get you, but
I was in surgery.
That's fine. Do you have any questions or concerns or anything that I can answer? Okay. Do you want me to go over this? Did everybody get to read it then? It is quite long, but I felt like it was very informational. I do, want to let you know that this is in compliance, and I did put some compliance and audit reports in there. And I am asking for a pay scale readjustment. What page is that on? Page 6, the proposed pay scale adjustment. And that would be for all 5 of those positions.
And these are all coming from the treasurer's fund, not ad valorem taxes, correct?
That is correct. It will be covered by the
No
treasurer's fund.
impact to the taxpayer.
And no impact to the general fund. That is correct. The treasurer's fund does come from the Kansas Department of Revenue, and there is strict guidelines and regulations what can be used for that, and compensation is one of those that can be used from that. The current scale was $15. I did put in there that in 2020, I believe 2024, the commission did agree to move up the minimum wage to $15. At that point in time, I did have staff that had been there and tenured, and they were at $16 an hour. And then once that inadvertently happened, it did put a 10-year scale as to somebody coming at $15 an hour off the street to somebody who's been there for 10, 12 years at 16. So that realignment that and adjusting that pay scale would help keep that tenure. I do want to let you guys know, I did take a 5-year plan moving forward on that to just kind of itemize it to make sure that we stay within the guidelines and kind of have a plan moving forward in the office.
And so you're at the bottom of page 6, you've got a spread, minimum to maximum.
Correct.
You're going to fall within the spread, or you're suggesting one of those columns?
I would like to adjust it to this spread. This is what kind of the pay scale is currently on the tiers that the county has. I kind of follow that minimum, mid, max. It would be moving $19 to $24 an hour starting out, and then moving up as the positions move up. I would ask that we accept that pay scale adjustment moving forward. That would also give me a chance to, if I have to hire anybody, HR is able to know where we would start that position at.
Okay, and so these different scales will be based upon tenure, training.
Yes. So
job requirements for the specific position.
So I do want to state this. The office has 9 people in there. When I started 12 years ago, some of those people were hired because they spoke Spanish. Some of those people were hired because they had a higher education in titling and tagging or whatever, right? So they started out like 50 cents more. They worked, from $8, $9, $10 an hour. Over the years, that's kind of not been able to be followed. And I feel like this scale would allow me and with HR to sit down and say, okay, this person has this much education, this much tenure, they speak Spanish, they write Spanish, this is the job duties that they entail. And that would, I think, coincide with the job duties as well as the pay. And also, I am having issues hiring in the department because other departments are starting out at $17, $18, $19 an hour, and we do not.
So, Angela Johnson, have you had a chance to review this?
Yes.
Okay.
Angela and I did sit down a couple weeks ago and talk about the restructure.
So in your treasurer elected, is it treasurer or treasurer?
It's treasurer. Okay. Well, it depends on how you, write it out.
Okay, so does this include the approximately $10,000 a year, or a little over $10,000 a year? And I term it as a bonus because that's kind of what other departments have been turned at from the state that's payable through the Seward County payroll.
So it is not a bonus. It is a compensation through the Kansas Department of Revenue. The treasurer does get compensation for that. It is based upon your transactions. It cannot be included in the compensation that the county allows for the county treasurer. There is strict statutes for that. And you can normally, our county treasurer gets about 26,000 transactions. Out of that, the treasurer normally gets about $10,000 out of that. It is not a guarantee. If there's not money in that fund, you cannot get that. The max you can get is $15,000 out of that fund for the county treasurer. So this would not be the additional. No, it would not.
So the the bonus, as I term it, because that's what other people have termed things like this, is not included. That's on top of what you're asking for.
Yes, it is not a bonus. It is compensation from the Kansas Department of Revenue. And like I said, if the money or the funds are not in there, you cannot get it. But historically, it has been.
I think during your 3 years that you've been treasurer, 23, 24, and 25,
Yes.
been about between 10,300 and 10,400.
Yes, it has been.
That's based on the number of transactions you process?
Correct.
Okay.
And it caps out at 15, so we're not even at the cap for that.
I mean, I look at the report that Carolyn Huddleston prepared, and it shows the Treasury Department is 74,000 over budget, overspent. So,
Well, you have the budget numbers in front of you from CIC, so
I'm just looking at what she prepared. I think this is something that, my opinion, is we table until we go through budget work session here. And
So I did submit my budget, and I did not have any changes in the budget to the general. And the total for the compensation for personnel was staying at $245,000.
okay, so that's just my opinion. We're four of us. So.
Just to clarify, because I'm a little fuzzy on this, so these funds that are coming from the state are actually under your purview, not ours. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And
But
so
they're-
you are allowed to distribute them as you see fit. Is that correct?
That is correct, but I still have to follow the policies and procedures in place for compensation.
Okay.
And that's why I'm coming in front of you guys for this to ask for the change.
I mean, I, as one commissioner, have no issue with any of this, but if you want to table it until we adopt the entire budget.
So kind of going with that kind of line of questioning, in the past, how have you distributed that compensation? Is it mostly towards you? Has it been evenly throughout?
No.
How do you make that process?
So I
How does that
cannot-
process happen?
Okay, so the Treasurers Fund has historically had an excess and on December 31st. And so I don't know if you've read that packet, but there was a deficit in payroll in 2023, 2024, and 2025. That I was then able to move the money from the payroll from the Treasurers Fund to cover the deficit that happened in the general fund because of the budget error that happened. And also the pay raise that was happening in 2023, there was a 3% pay raise. The budgets were not amended, and that also caused a deficit on the pay on the general fund, so I was able to cover that. I cannot go in and just give my girls, let's say December, let's say I have this much money left over, a bonus. I can't do that because bonuses are not allowed through that. I cannot go in and say a longevity. I can't go in and do that because it's not allowed. I have to follow the policies and procedures that are put in place by the commission for the pay. Historically, there has been money there to cover. I have changes going on in my office, and I'm asking for this pay scale change so I can be within line of other departments that are within the county to pay them at a competitive rate. I have girls in my office who are working 2 or 3 jobs because they're only making minimum wage, which the county deems at $15 an hour. So I'm asking to be put on a competitive wage, and for the Treasurers Fund to cover that, because whatever's left over, I have to turn over to the general fund at a certain date to cover personnel expenses.
Would there be a specific benefit of getting this taken care of now, or just waiting, kind of like they?
Well, I do have announcements that I need to make today, and I would very much like to have this voted on today.
I've got it, man. You know, I don't disagree. I don't think anyone thinks that everyone deserves the pay raises, but I want to be uniform throughout the county. We can't pick and choose what departments get raises and what not. But I go back over here, you've got wrote that your current balance is $45,000. The impact's going to be $45,000. You show that you expect $70,000 to come in, but you have not received it yet.
So it comes in on a daily basis through this.
No, but it's not there.
It's not the amount that's there now is the enough to cover the payroll that's going to be from August 3rd to December. That's there in that fund. It historically comes in every single day through motor vehicle, and that money comes in. The money that's in that fund now will cover the wages from August 3rd to December 31st on the bump that I'm asking for.
Then that will increase your 2027 budget by 110,000.
No, it won't, because I'm not hitting the general fund. I'm hitting the treasurer's fund. And I historically get $146,000 from the treasurer's fund.
This was a discussion at budget work sessions on her 510 account, because that's where the money comes from. And it was questioned at that time. She's paying one individual out of that fund right now. Historically, more of her clerks have been paid a percentage of their wages out of that fund. And then last year, she was able to transfer $80,000 to help offset her payroll in her office. At budget work sessions time, it was noted from Mary that she expected to be able to transfer another $80,000 this year to offset the wages. I know there was some discussion that you were concerned about the 510 balance being down some because you're not doing as many transactions, or there's more online transactions done now. But so historically, yes, people have been paid from 510, more than one. There's one right now, but then she has transferred money to offset some of the wages that she can pay out of there that do their job pertains to motor vehicle.
Anybody want to make a motion? I mean, my deal is I want to wait till budget time.
How long are we looking for that? When will we get to that?
Could be this month, or since we have to get together to get the budget done.
So in the next couple weeks.
Well, I submitted my budget to you guys individually, and there was no change across the board.
We've reviewed the budgets all at one time through the budget work session.
I know, but I submitted that ahead of time, and she submitted the budgets to you as well. There's no change to the general fund.
And this would be effective through the rest of the year, correct?
I'm asking for it to be effective August 3rd.
So in some ways, I mean, just to clarify, it's not essentially, I don't view it as being different than us allowing Bree to reallocate some resources within her department.
We've sat here and made issues out of other departments and denied them state funding and didn't let them go through, and that's what I'm getting at. I don't have no problem doing this, but I want to quit that singling out a department and not allowing them to have a raise. I mean, I think everyone does. I mean, I'm not trying to keep it from you.
I understand. And I would say, you guys are asking in budget to do a 3% raise. I have said if you guys would decide to do this, to not include this department in a 3% raise, because I think that's only fair. What I'm asking is that these other departments have come in front of you to ask to increase their starting wage. That's technically what I'm doing for each of these. The problem is that your county treasurer makes $28 an hour. I have a deputy who comes in at $27, $1 less than me. So I can't go through and bump all these people up and meet them to exactly what it has to be, because you have to move everybody in the whole department to even do this.
Okay.
Well, I'll make a motion just to show my support for this, and you guys can do as you see fit, and truly with no feelings one way or the other. I would move that we approve the treasurer's memorandum outlining pay scale adjustments as dated July 15th, 2026, specifically the proposed pay scale adjustment found at the bottom of page 6, although the pages aren't numbered. And just to reiterate, these are not coming from taxpayer dollars or ad valorem taxes. These are purely from the Treasurer's Fund. Well, they're tax dollars from the state, but they're coming from the state.
Just what I've said. I'll give you the second for that because I think everyone ought to be raised, but like I said, it's under the stipulation that we don't pick and choose from here on.
And I totally agree with that completely. And I understand where you're coming from with that.
So, go back to, you were arguing on your wage. So what will it increase per hour now?
It would be the minimum, which I think was the 37?
So effectively a $10 an hour raise.
Are you saying I'm not worth it?
No, I'm just saying that's what the raise is.
$37 an hour. $37 an hour.
Okay.
And I am salary.
I will say I was kind of shocked when I found out what your hourly wage was for your position. Truly was.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed. Motion passes 4-0.
I appreciate that, you guys, and as does the girls. All right, I do have some public service announcements. So I'd like to say, dear Seward County members and business owners, as the president of the Southwest Kansas Treasurer Association, I am incredibly proud to share a major milestone for our region. After 2 years of hard advocacy and successfully placing 2 Southwest Kansas County treasurers into association leadership, we have achieved a historical victory. The Kansas County Treasurers Association will hold its meeting in Southwest Kansas in Dodge City in September. To celebrate this milestone, the Southwest Kansas Treasurers Association will be hosting a showcase representing the 17 counties in our district. We want to display an absolute best of Seward County. And at the end of the statewide meeting, our showcase will be awarded to one of the 88 visiting county treasurers from across the state. We want to leave a lasting and powerful impression of our community's grit, our rich culture, and our local talent. And I do need your help. We are officially inviting local businesses, organizations, and residents to contribute to items of Seward County's showcase. We are looking for unique donations that represent who we are, such as local goods and flavors, community memorabilia, business swag, arts and crafts. I would ask that you drop that off to the Seward County Treasurer's Office between 8 and 5, Monday through Friday, and the last day to do that would be September 7th. At that point in time, we will take that over to the Southwest Kansas meeting in Dodge City. That'll have 200 to 300 people there, where we will probably just raffle off with a ticket our showcase of Seward County to them. So it's good stuff, good progress. Any questions on that? Okay. My other one that I would like to state is yearly the Treasurer's Office undergoes audits. Audits are important because they provide an independent, objective evaluation of an organization's financial health, operational efficiency, and legal compliances. This serves as a critical mechanism for ensuring transparency, protecting resources, and building public trust. This is my favorite part. It helps pinpoint gaps of internal control. The Treasurer's Office maintains an exceptional level of compliance and accountability under state oversight. The Kansas Department of Revenue conducts demanding annual compliance audits. Historically, since 2023, our office has scored a 96%, a 98%, a 94%, and our office this year scored 93% in our audit for the 2025 year. This achievement places our office among the top performing counties in Kansas for accuracy, integrity, and the elite stewardship of public funds. Independent financial audits are also conducted by Hayrice and Associates, which those audits are commonly conducted in accordance with the government auditing standards commonly known as the Yellow Book and the KMAG Guide. Our annual audit did start June 8th, and historically, the independent auditor releases the financial report in late September. This document is usually over 100 pages, representing a mass amount of hard work and dedication from county employees, elected officials, and department heads. I have always believed in reviewing this report as instrumental, especially for those who are setting the county budget, and also since it is addressed to Seward County Commissioners. I ask for you to recognize that effort and put this audit in place to please prioritize time and go over your annual audit when it is released in late September. All right, last one. To the Board of the Seward County Taxpayers and the Board of County Commissioners, I would like to inform Seward County taxpayers and the Board of County Commissioners that as of August 3rd, 2026, my current Deputy Treasurer, Annabelle Kleinsmith, will be retiring after almost 20 years with the Seward County. I would like to introduce the upcoming deputy. Her journey began on August 8th, 2016, when she started the Treasurer's Office. Over the past 10 years, she has gained extensive experience by serving the several key roles within the office, building a comprehensive understanding of county financial operations. I am completely confident that with her by my side, the foundation of liberty, fiscal responsibility, and the rule of law will be held secure in the Treasurer's Office. She brings ethics, morals, faith, and is educated. She is worthy of the job and capable of the position. She will not waver, nor will she lose sight of who we serve. It is my privilege to announce my partner in this fight, Cassandra Martinez-Ware. And that is all I have. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Item 11 is the approval of the starting wages for the rural fire staff. The recommendation is the deputy chief, $63,000 annually, a captain $20.25 per hour, lieutenant $18.50 per hour, and a firefighter $16 to $18 per hour. Do we have a motion?
Eric, can I just ask what the previous numbers were on each item, please? Not a criticism, but it might just help if we get that information on these sheets.
The previous deputy chief was at 65,832. The captain was at 2154. Lieutenant I believe no, it was 2154 before 2154. It's on this sheet. Captain was at 2154. Our current lieutenant right now is actually at 1916. And then our firefighters start at 16.
These are starting wages for new positions.
New positions, yes.
Okay.
Correct.
So do we have a motion to approve the starting wages for rural fire?
And Mike, these all fall within your budget?
Yes. I've run the numbers. They all fall in the budget for this year and for 2027.
I'll make the motion.
We have a second.
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Louderback and a second by Commissioner Vasquez to approve the starting wages for rural fire. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes 5-4-0.
Thank you.
Beer garden. Sorry, we're going to go back to 7. We just skipped right over that. Forgot about it. 7 is the resolution. 7, not 7, 5. It's resolution 2026-14. It's for establishing the barriers for the beer garden or the boundaries that we talked about last meeting. This is the updated version. So do I have a motion to pass 2026-14 and allow me to sign this resolution?
Do you want me to go through the changes with you there real
You went
quick?
through them a while ago.
Well, I started to and then realized you had the wrong resolution, but all we did was add to number 1 that says, or it's such other county-owned property or location as may specifically be approved by the Board of County Commissioners for a special event. And then item F, notwithstanding any provision of this resolution to the contrary, the Board of County Commissioners may, by formal action taken at a public meeting, waive or modify one or more of the requirements of this resolution for a specific special event when the board determines that such waiver or modification is in the best interest of Seward County and will not compromise public safety or violate applicable federal, state, or local laws. Any such waiver or modification shall apply only to the event specifically approved by the board and shall not constitute a waiver for any future event. So we do need you to adopt the resolution tonight, but then also you would need to approve for the fair as a special event to receive that waiver according to your new resolution.
What are the dates of the fair?
The dates are August 2nd through the 8th, but we are only going to need to move the alcohol consumption area the 6th, 7th, and 8th.
So the special waiver would only be for the 6th.
For 3 days, yes.
7th and 8th. Okay. So first off, do I have a motion to approve resolution 2026-14
So moved.
and allow me to sign the document?
Included in my motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Stanton, a second by Commissioner Vasquez, to approve resolution 2026-14 and allow me to sign it. All in favor? Motion passes 4-0. Now do I have a motion to, for the special event waiver? Is that correct, April? The special event waiver for August 6th through August 8th.
So moved.
Have a second?
I will.
Have a motion by Commissioner Stanton, a second by Commissioner Louderback to approve the special alcohol waiver for August 6th through August 8th. All in favor? Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you.
April, will you notify the other special events of this new resolution?
Yes, for anybody that part of your resolution is that they attach that to any contract with the event center. So they will notify them that they have to come before you to get a special waiver.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, item 12. Executive sessions.
Commissioners, you have several executive sessions this evening. If we could begin with the legal executive session to include Sharp Law. We do have representatives. I saw them walk in. We have Rex Sharp. Rex, do you have Isaac with you as well? Hi, Isaac. Anybody else that you want to include in that besides or is it just the two of you? Okay. And then we would need to include our legal counselor and the commissioners and administration, please.
Okay, for how long do we need? Okay.
For 20.
Yep.
I move to recess into executive session for discussion of personnel matters and non-elected. What?
We're not personnel matters.
Oh.
Consultation with.
Well, I haven't done this before. John usually does.
No. There you go, that one.
This one?
Consultation of attorney, correct?
Yeah. I move to recess in executive session for consultation with our attorney, which would be deemed privilege in attorney-client relationship under KSA 75-4319B 2 for 20 minutes to include the law firm of, you said Sharp?
Sharp.
And our county council, administration, the commissioners. For the subject matter of the discussion will be, I guess, legal. Is that right?
You have to say a subject. You can't just say legal.
What is the subject?
I would defer to as to how. I mean, we don't want to. Sometimes the subject matter itself can be part of what's privileged. So I would defer to. Sorry, not to pass the buck, but I would defer to you all as to how much you're comfortable sharing publicly.
Okay. Legal matter involving Seward County land.
What time did you say we come back?
I did not. For
Come
20
back.
minutes. So
7:22.
22. For 7:22 is when we can.
So do we have a second?
Second.
I have a motion to go into executive session by Commissioner Louderback, second by Commissioner Vasquez. It's for consultation with attorney, legal matters at the landfill. We will resume at 7:22. All in favor? Motion passes 4-0. We will be back at 7:22.
How would I know you would be in there?
Okay, we're back in open session.
No action.
No action as a result of the executive session. We're waiting on April to tell us what the next one on the schedule is. Next executive session.
You gotta grab my pen.
The next executive session is also a legal executive session. Forrest, this one is regarding landfill. How much time do you feel like we need?
$20 if there's not a problem to come back out and get more, or if we go 30 minutes from the start, then I don't want to have people just waiting. So maybe 20 minutes, and then if we need to extend, we can.
20 minutes.
And it is better if we list people individually. I mean, you can say commission, but then individual people that you want to be included, if we could list them by name, please.
Okay, so who do I need?
Forrest, myself, and Brock.
Okay. And the commission.
Yes.
I move to recess into executive session for consultation with our attorney, which will be deemed privilege in the attorney-client relationship under KSA 75-4319B for 20 minutes to include April, Brock, Forrest, and the commission to reconvene in the commission chambers at 7:45. The subject matter of the discussion will be landfill.
Do we have a second?
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Louderback, a second by Commissioner Vasquez to go in executive session for consultation with attorney regarding a landfill. We'll resume at 7:45. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes 4 with 1 absent. we're going to go back. I mean,
that's done. Okay.
we don't have any action currently, so we'll go back in executive session on this, extend the current executive session.
I move the recess into executive session for the consultation of our attorney, which would be deemed privilege in the attorney-client relationship under KSA 75-4319B for 15 more minutes to include Brock, April, Forrest, and the commission to reconvene at the commission chambers at 8:01. The subject matter of the discussion will be the landfill.
Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion by Commissioner Latterback, a second by Commissioner Stanton to return to executive session under legal for the landfill. We will resume at 8:01. All in favor? Motion passes 4-0. Okay, we're back in open meeting. Forrest, do you want to come to the podium, whatever?
Okay. Is it on? Oh, it is. Okay. Good evening, everybody. So the board has asked me to share the results of the research that I did into one of the questions that has been floating around concerning the using landfill monies to fund Brock Theiner's compensation. So I won't take everybody too far down the legal rabbit hole, but a couple of things that I think are worthwhile to think about. There is a statutory structure that governs landfill monies and how they can be used. There is not a great deal of case law interpreting that statute. So the laws are made by the legislature. It's what's written in the statutes themselves, and they're interpreted by the court systems. Attorneys, including the Attorney General's office, can offer opinions on what they think the law means. Those Attorney General opinions are not binding. They don't carry the same force of law that a court decision or that the statute does on its face. They can be valued when they're well reasoned. They can provide a valuable source of insight, and a court may choose on reviewing an issue to follow what the AG said in an opinion because the court believes that the court essentially views the analysis the same way and adopts that analysis. But the AG opinion otherwise is simply an opinion of an attorney on a particular issue. So there are quite a few AG opinions on these issues. Just keep in mind what force they carry. They are helpful to interpreting the issues. They are not the law. So what we have is the Kansas statutes, monies that are raised by the landfill essentially have to be limited to use for issues that are directly related to the landfill. There was some mention earlier about some of the Attorney General opinions and talk about there's one that dealt with a road that serviced a landfill it was the primary artery in and out of the landfill in Reno County. And the question was, could we use landfill funds to pay for maintenance on that road because it directly benefited the landfill? And the AG determined that no, you couldn't, because while it did benefit the landfill, it also directly benefited the property owners and businesses that also used that road. So in the Attorney General's opinion, that didn't meet the direct relationship test. There is another Attorney General opinion that dealt with the use of a county wanted to build a maintenance facility that would service the county's equipment. It would service not only equipment of the Road and Bridge Department, which candidly was the majority of the equipment, but it would also service equipment that was used by the landfill. So the question was, can we use landfill monies to pay for the building of this facility, and then the county would reimburse the landfill fund for sort of its proportionate share of the use of the building, recognizing road and bridge versus landfill. And the AG opined that no, you couldn't do that either because the landfill funds could only be used for issues that are directly related to the landfill. So you have those opinions floating out there. What you also have is a general premise that the landfill fund can be charged for support that the county provides to it. So there are payroll expenses, there are functions that the treasurer's office performs, that the clerk's office performs, that directly benefit the landfill because the landfill doesn't have the staff to do all that administrative support. Human resources provide support for the landfill as well as the rest of the county. So it is fair and appropriate under the Kansas statutes for the landfill fund to pay, I'll use the term, its fair share of what those amounts are. Now you'd have to be comfortable that the amount that's being charged to the landfill is a fair representation of the cost to the county of providing those support functions to the landfill. But the idea that the landfill, that money never goes out of the landfill to the county would be wrong. Money does can and does go out of the landfill to the county. The practice that Seward County has done for years is at the end of the year, there is a flat transfer of an amount. It's been $270,000 historically to the general fund to offset the administrative support, I use that term generally, that the county through the general fund provides to the landfill. That scenario, I think, makes the situation we have right now with having, and then, so the premise to this is you've got one employee who is working in the capacity of the assistant county administrator by job title, whose compensation right now is being funded from the landfill. There is no question that some of that employee's job functions directly relate to the landfill. There is no question that some of them don't. So we have a job that has split duties. How do we handle that? You could look at some of these attorney general opinions and say, well, wait a minute, the landfill fund can't do that because of the functions that are not related to the landfill. Well, the problem with that, where I think the issue is more complex than that, is because right now the landfill is getting the benefit of all of those other administrative support functions that it's not paying for until the end of the year. Because that's what the county has done historically, is there's been a transfer at the end of the year from the landfill fund to the general fund. That transfer is much greater than the amount of money that the landfill fund is paying for one employee's compensation on a month-to-month basis. So if you think of it like a balance sheet, the landfill fund is still coming out ahead month to month because what they're paying is less than the fair share of their expenses, which are being trued up at the end of the year. So is it clear to me that the way the county is doing it right now with respect to having one employee with mixed duties, having that compensation come out of the landfill fund, it is not clear to me that that is unlawful under the statute. You can argue as to what directly related means, but you can also point to the fact that at the end of the day, the landfill fund is still paying less than what it would be paying otherwise because of all the other administrative support functions that the landfill is not paying for until the end of the year. With that said, and given the fact that there is some uncertainty, and given the fact that this has become an optical point that's resurfacing from week to week, month to month, I don't know that it makes practical sense to continue to do things the way we've been doing. I'm not saying that we can't, and I'm not saying that it's unlawful to do that. We're going to true it up at the end of the year, but I don't know that there's a practical benefit to the county to continuing to do it in a way that is just going to draw scrutiny when we could move that employee's compensation to the general fund now and still engage in the same true-up at the end of the year to account for the portion of that employee's compensation that truly is directly related to the landfill, that the landfill should and will be required to pay for, along with all the other administrative support functions that the county provides to the landfill. Now, at first glance, some might say, well, wait a minute, that's going to require an amendment to our budget because we're moving a line from the landfill fund to the general fund. No, it doesn't. The general fund has the funds to absorb the compensation for that employee for the rest of the year. We will not. We've consulted the county's auditor on this point. As long as we don't surpass the approved funding in the general fund, and we won't, then we don't have to go back and go through an amendment process. Commissioners, is there anything else that you'd like me to cover that I didn't?
Pretty much it. I'm good. Thank you, sir.
Okay, you're very welcome.
Appreciate it. Okay. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we move Brock Thiner to the general fund as assistant county administrator and take it away from the landfill like we had been doing.
And we will reallocate his his assistant county administrator salary to the different departments based on the time that he spends with those departments. Correct?
Yeah, and add that to it, the different departments that he is over, he will have a share of that.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? Motion passes 3-1. Okay. Now do we have another? What's the next executive session?
I think this one would be for attorney-client privilege discussions with respect to I think it's I would call it a worker classification issue in terms of attorney-client privilege discussion.
So, okay, how long do we need?
20 minutes should be fine.
All right. Worker classification, you said?
So it's under personnel.
Well,
it's legal.
It's legal. For where we are right now, it's attorney-client privilege. It's not personnel.
All right. I move to recess an executive session for consultation of our attorney, which would be deemed privileged in attorney-client relationship under KSA 75-4319B for 20 minutes to include
Commissioners, legal counsel, Forest Rhodes, myself, Brock, and Mary Rose, county treasurer.
Okay, so the commissioners, Forrest, April, Brock, and Mary Rose, for the discussion of, say it again.
So it'd be the language you use for attorney-client privilege. The subject matter would be a worker classification.
Okay, worker classification to reconvene at 8:34.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Louderback, a second by Commissioner Vasquez to go in executive session for consultation with the attorney for worker classification. So that's the subject. We'll resume at 8:34. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes 4-0.
they said one more.
We're back in open meeting with no action, but we're waiting on one commissioner to come back.
Oh, okay. We're waiting for Hiram.
Yeah. How long and subject
Personnel executive, 10 minutes.
to include?
Brock Feiner, myself, Angela Johnston. And this is,
We got it lined up.
okay. And Forrest, sorry.
We used to call it. We're not even.
I know.
I move to recess an executive session for discussion of personnel matters of non-elected personnel under KSA 754319B1 for, what'd you say, 10 minutes? To include Angela Johnson, Brock Thainer, April, Forrest, and the commission for the subject matter of emergency management.
And resume.
We'll resume at
8:47. Yeah, it's an extra minute. But...
8:47.
Okay, do I have a second? You did? Have a motion by Commissioner Louderback, a second by Commissioner Stanton to go in executive session. Personnel matters, subject is emergency management. We will resume at 8:47. All in favor? Motion passes 4-0. 10. It's going to be 9 o'clock. Okay, we're back in open session. Do we have any action?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we employ David Turner as a new emergency management director effective tomorrow, starting salary of $72,000, and we will waive the waiting period on the insurance.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
So we have a motion by Commissioner Stanton, a second by Commissioner Lauterbach to employ David Turner as our new emergency management director at a salary of $72,000. We waive the standard benefit waiting period for department heads, and the start day will be 7/21 of 27.
26.
Huh? 26. I'm ahead. All right, all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes 4-1, 4-0 with one absent. Okay. Now we have one more executive session, and then hopefully that's it.
I move to recess in the executive session for discussion of personnel matters of non-elected personnel under KSA 754319B for 10 minutes to include April and Forrest and the commission to reconvene in the commission chambers at 8:59. The subject matter will be personnel.
You have a second? Second. Have a motion by Commissioner Lauterbach, a second by Commissioner Vasquez to go in executive session for personnel matters for 10 minutes, and we will resume at 8:59. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes 4.
Oh, yeah, that's what they were doing. Stuff back in.
I know Katie got called out.
Okay, we're back in open meeting. No action as a result of executive session. April's comments, and she just it's your, yeah. No boring details. Okay, commission comments. Commissioner Stanton, we'll start with you.
Oh, okay. I started last week too.
I thought it was kind of last week.
Well, doesn't really matter.
Doesn't matter. Okay.
Well, I've got a few comments today. I don't read a lot of social media and rarely engage with it. Recent public comments have suggested or implied that I was behind the recall petition concerning Chairman Hell. That is false. I did not initiate, organize, direct, or manage the recall petition, and I'm not a member of the committee. Statute requires that committee be citizens from the relevant district. I think as we've discussed tonight, my referral to the county attorney, which is now a month ago, was a separate matter undertaken in my official capacity. It presented documented questions concerning multiple related matters. It is a part of the public record and should not be conflated with any citizen recall efforts. Anyone can get a digital copy of that from our very nice county clerk sitting over there. Public record. Another thing we need to clear up, because it keeps coming up, certain individuals continue to assert that I regularly engage in social media under the name Aaron Gerber. I do not have an alter ego named Aaron Gerber. I have no idea how to prove a negative. Mr. Gerber attempted to put that to bed one morning by communicating live while I was being interviewed. Apparently, I'm a master magician. Certainly not me. That's all I have today.
Mr. Louderback.
I don't have much. As a commission, we're just trying to do what's right. We're trying to take care of our employees and do the best we can in a tough situation where funds are tight. We're trying to take care of you guys, to get down the road to where we can get to raises and stuff like that to take care of you guys. Just be patient with us. It's going to take some time to go through all this stuff.
Ira?
Yeah. Put something out. So it's a combination of a couple things. I think so. It's partly like an apology, like a formal apology. And the great thing about an apology is that, you could say it, and the person that's it's meant to, they have the ability to not accept it. But I think as a man, I'm responsible for communicating when I was wrong, and as a leader, I think it sets a good example of that. We're not perfect, and we need to correct the things that we might be wrong about. So I wrote it out because it's a lot, but I would like to give a public apology to former county commissioners, which includes Scott Carr and his family, Tammy Sutherland, Persephone Fuller. Before I got into this position, I didn't completely understand all the challenges that they and administration was facing in the county. I went off of what the news was pushing, and I deeply regret not talking to Scott or any of the other commissioners to understand what they were facing at the time and what we currently face now. There has been, in my opinion, a coordinated and persistent campaign against our county, against county commissioners that are in the way of a certain group's agenda. I have only been here a couple months, but in that short time, I have come to understand that, yes, there are many things that we have to address and continue to improve. But the fear and mistrust that our local media has created in our community is that of an agenda and a compromised journalistic integrity. Talking to prior employees of said news, I can't believe how much of a open secret this was. I am sad, angry, disappointed in their actions as we have continued to try to navigate stumbling blocks set by this said group and Commissioner Stanton. There's a video that's been circulating the past couple days of some unprofessional comments from Commissioner Stanton, and from my understanding of the conversation that I heard in the video, it seems like it was premeditated in its actions. Just to let everybody know, we knew about this video about a day afterwards. You know, they let us know, and I chose not to see it just because I wanted to keep a professional relationship with Todd. But this past week, these past couple of days, I saw it, and it's just very frustrating. Let's see. You know, we found out about it, and I don't speak for you guys, obviously, but again, from my understanding, we decided to put it to the side in hopes to move forward and continue to improve our county. But again, it just seems like there's always like a continued hindrance to our efforts and our hope to try and improve our community. In my opinion, my trust with Commissioner Stanton has completely eroded, and there is no longer a possible way to save a professional working relationship. Coupled with his emotional irregularity that happened, you know, and the stuff that happened with former commissioner, and sometimes like when we disagree, sometimes out here, sometimes in there, the shaking of rage that he usually goes into, like it's just something that I'm not okay with. There's a level of professionalism that just isn't there, and you know, I wish I can ask you to change and possibly come up to a higher standard in your actions, but I just don't see that happening. So I don't know what needs to happen, but something needs to change. For those people that will obviously try to manipulate my words and accuse me of anything other than wanting the best for this county and this community, yesterday I had a conversation. I called and had a conversation with a couple of investigative journalists out of Wichita to start covering more of what's happening here and hopefully get more of an understanding of how this group works and I guess their motives, because I'm having a hard time understanding what's going on. I also talked about 20 minutes with Chris Earl of Cake News, explaining what I believe to be a factual account of what I've seen occur these past couple months. the coordinated manipulation of the truth by a group of people, and the erosion of trust. So I just hope that first off, they're watching this, because I asked them to watch this live stream, but also that, again, we can just continue to move forward and actually progress in our county. I don't understand this constant drama of not being able to communicate and have intellectual discussions to understand the best way to move forward. It's just, I think that we're adults, and being at this level, we need to be professional about our actions, and it seems like that's not happening. So just to finish, I want to say that the people of this county deserve the truth. I hope that I've given you guys at least something, and I really hope that we can continue to progress, because I'm tired. Again, I don't speak for the other commissioners, but it's just frustrating that every time that we want to move forward, it always seems like there's another stumbling block in front of us. So that's all I have to say.
Mine's not going to be near as organized as Hiro's. First of all, I want to thank everyone that supported me and believed in me during this baseless recall. It got overturned. My sister sat out here tonight for 4 hours. My number one supporter. I had random people. I had one lady, elderly lady, cried, said, "I feel sorry for you." She said, "I'm praying for you." What does that tell you? You know, we got all this nonsense going on. Republican Party, it's a shame the way they're acting. I look at the 3 petition signers. B. Simons, I don't know, to put it mildly, he got slaughtered in the election, so is he a sore loser. Jim Rice signed the same thing. He signed health department grants just like that they faced a recall petition on Scott and Tammy over. So he did the same thing. I believe that he was a commissioner when the 2 largest mill levy increases were ever done. I think in round numbers, in 2 years, the mill levy went from around 27 to 40 something. Where was the public then? The Art Kalin, I may be speaking out of term. He had 3 years, maybe 4, to settle up with Art Kalin. After that, then it got in a court case. So it has nothing to do. We're trying to clean up the mess. And Rick, I don't have any comment. Pathetic. Todd, time to stop all your baseless allegations. The assault report and the video of that is pathetic. You've tried pressing criminal charges against April, when I believe you were involved more than April was. Don't. Okay. Okay. You tried getting criminal charges against her. I could just go on and on. April, thank you for hanging in there. I know it's been difficult for, 11 months now? It's been difficult. You've had relentless attack after attack after attack. Hiro, you've been the same thing. Attack after attack after attack. John's not here. Clay, you guys have been attacked relentlessly. It's time to put this crap behind us and move forward and make Seward County a place that people want to come to, want to locate their businesses here, and want to build houses, want to have nice things in town. So, with that, do you have any suggestion cards?
The main microphone's dead, so they asked me to speak into this one. Having watched the videos of the former fire chief Andrew Barkley and Commissioner Todd Stanton during the fires, I'm appalled by both individuals. That day, fires burned across the county. Homes were lost, and families watched their belongings disappear forever. It was tragic by any measure. In the middle of the fires, the former fire chief folded under pressure, and to his credit, he had the decency to resign. Commissioner Stanton did not extend the same decency. When told by Barkley that he wouldn't help obtain a radio so county administration could stay informed, Stanton laughed and said, good man, twice. Barkley could have simply pointed them to where a radio could be found. Instead, both Stanton and the former fire chief apparently preferred that administration stay in the dark. There's no excuse for that response, and no excuse for the attitude behind it. According to the police report, Commissioner Stanton also admitted to telling a female commissioner to watch her mouth while pointing his finger in her face. That kind of conduct towards a colleague is disqualifying on its own, let alone alongside everything else. If Todd, Aaron, George, Stanton had an ounce of honor, he would resign. If anyone in this county deserves to be recalled, it is him. Then there's the Seward County Republican Committee, which at this point seems to stand for nothing in particular. Where the core principles this party claims to hold, where is the respect for the property rights? Where is the commitment to small government? Bill Hatcher and Neil Coffey oppose wind turbines while offering little in the way of facts and even less respect for the property rights of the landowners who actually want them, nor do they have an answer to bring in more tax revenue. By the way, what have they ever done to bring in more voters to the Republican Party? One Republican committee member is married to the paper boy who conveniently leaves out whatever facts don't fit the narrative. And Mary Rose, who sits on this committee while serving as our elected county treasurer, continues to sit on delinquent back taxes the county desperately needs and appears to be stonewalling attempts at collection rather than working with the board to collect them. She should resign as well. Seward County has become something of a punchline because of the people I just mentioned. It is time for all of them to go. I do not know who wrote this. As with many suggestion cards, we get anonymous suggestion cards.
Okay. So do we have a motion to adjourn?
I will.
Have a motion by Commissioner Louderback. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Vasquez to resign. Adjourn. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes 4-0. We are adjourned.
Thank you.